Tonight on Bridge City News, a mass shooting has taken place in northeastern Thailand with a soldier killing at least 20 people, some on the streets and some at a shopping mall. Finance Minister Bill Morneau is defending the Trans Mountain Pipeline project, despite the fact the projected expansion cost has now risen to $12.6 billion, up about 70%. And Canadian figure skating legend Kurt Browning pays a visit to Lethbridge.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Paul Arthur.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A mass shooting in northeastern Thailand is still unfolding as police report that a soldier shot multiple people, killing at least 20 and wounding 31 others. The suspect is now holed up in a shopping mall. There are unconfirmed reports that he has taken some hostages. Authorities in the city of Nakhon Ratchasima say the soldier initially killed his commanding officer over a land dispute and then stole some weapons and drove off, shooting randomly as he went. Police have now sealed off the Terminal 21 shopping center and have apparently brought in the mother of the soldier to see if she can convince her son to surrender. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney is calling out Democratic U.S. presidential hopefuls who want to block the Keystone XL pipeline expansion. Kenney spoke at a news conference today at the Canadian Embassy in Washington, alongside four of his provincial counterparts, as they try to bolster trade relations. U.S. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, two progressive contenders for the Democratic nomination, have promised to block the Keystone project should they win the White House.
There are some candidates who are threatening to tear up a presidential permit which is the basis for a multi-billion-dollar Canadian investment to create jobs in this country. That, I don't think, reflects the spirit of friendship that has always underscored the Canada-U.S. relationship. So all of us object to protectionism, whichever end of Pennsylvania Avenue it emanates from. But this is, I think, even worse than protectionism, because this would be saying after a good faith investment, multi-billion-dollar investment by Canadians to create jobs in the United States, to improve their continental energy security and access, that a president would come along after the fact and tear that up and try to pull the pipe out of the ground and put people out of work, causing Canadians to incur significant financial and economic damages. So I'm here to say to progressive, liberal Democrats, if you really like Canada that much, if you really think Canada is some kind of a model, then why would you hurt us in that way? I certainly hope that they'll reconsider that position.
Canadian figure skating legend and four-time world champion Kurt Browning made a weekend stop in our city to put on an amazing display of talent and to lead a couple of seminars for the Lethbridge Figure Skating Club.
The inspiration, you can see the kids trying harder, especially being today day 2 of the seminar. You see that they're building on what they've learned from yesterday with him, which is fantastic to see. He's really looking for the direction from the skaters as to where they want to go. Do they want to do more choreography? Do they want to do more jumps and spins and have his feedback? So every session has been a little bit different, but the theme of it has been build on what you know and make it better.
Browning was the first skater to ever land a ratified quadruple toe loop jump in competition back in 1988 at the World Championships. He is now 53 years of age. The Lethbridge Gunshow got underway today at the exhibition grounds. There were a wide variety of rifles and handguns on display, along with archery, hunting, and fishing items, and some unique antique firearms.
Probably the most popular is the antique Winchester guns. The lever action 94s, the guns that won the West. There's a large variance of those types of guns and all kinds of shoots that you can go to. And I think that would probably be the number one collecting right now. I have a couple of single shot rifles that were used during the buffalo hunting days back in the mid 1800s. Single shot, large caliber that throw a big chunk of lead a long distance.
If you missed the show today, you can stop by tomorrow between 10 and 3. Lethbridge College held its winter open house today, giving prospective students the chance to meet with instructors and to make some plans for college.
Our open houses are really beneficial for any type of student who's considering and going to college or just exploring any post-secondary education. Our open houses have all of our different program areas that are on display. So we have over 55 different programs that are on display, all equipped with all of our instructors. So all of them bring a wealth of knowledge. You can sit down, ask them about their programs, get to know who they really are and what to expect in classes. We have a lot of interactive tours and labs happening throughout the day as well. Tuition really ranges depending on what program that you enroll in, but most of our students can expect to pay per semester about $3,000 to $4,000.
Over 5,000 students are enrolled at the college, ranging from high school grads all the way to seniors. RCMP say a criminal investigation will be conducted after support beams on a bridge in northern BC appear to have been cut near an area where police began arresting people for breaching an injunction against opposition to a natural gas pipeline. 4 people were taken into custody yesterday. Police also report that several of their vehicles have been damaged by metal spikes set up by protesters. Coastal GasLink says it has support from all 20 elected Indigenous governments along the $6.2 billion pipeline path, but the hereditary chiefs oppose the project, which goes through their traditional territory. Many are still without power as the Maritimes cleans up after the latest nasty winter storm. Nova Scotia Power reported 37,000 customers still affected at midday. Freezing rain and high winds gusting upwards of 100 kilometers per hour were blamed for the power problems. The freezing rain forced many public schools to close and delayed flights in the region yesterday. 215 people who fled the epicenter of the novel coronavirus outbreak in China will spend the next 2 weeks in quarantine at a military base in Ontario. They can expect to be joined next week by another group from a second Canadian chartered flight out of Wuhan, scheduled to depart on Monday. Over 34,000 have contracted the virus worldwide, and China has reported 722 deaths. There are still 5 confirmed cases here in Canada, 3 in Ontario, and 2 in BC. Finance Minister Bill Morneau says the federal Liberals believe the Trans Mountain Pipeline project remains commercially viable, and the government intends to sell it to the private sector despite a jump in costs. The project is now expected to cost $12.6 billion to expand, which is about a 70% increase from 3 years ago.
We went through a due diligence process to consider how this would be commercially viable. This was in the range of considerations that we looked at. Of course, the project will deliver $1.5 billion of available cash flow once it's finished, which means that it remains commercially viable, and I think very interesting for the eventual commercial buyers that we're going to be seeking, because we don't intend on keeping this in government hands.
So the first thing is, as Conservatives have always said, there never needed to be a single tax dollar spent on the Trans Mountain expansion. The Liberals had to give legal and political certainty to the private sector proponent to build it and use private dollars. So here we are, years later, and Ian Anderson has now confirmed exactly what Conservatives have been warning, exactly what the Parliamentary Budget Officer warned, and exactly what economists have warned, which is that the Trans Mountain expansion will now cost taxpayers way more than what the Liberals had currently indicated. The news that's come out today is that the Trans Mountain expansion is now predicted to cost a third more than the Liberals first told Canadians. That's why Conservatives continue to call on them to release a concrete plan of next steps for construction, transparency on costs, and their plan for final private ownership of the Trans Mountain expansion.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to meet with leaders. He spent more than 2 hours with the Prime Minister. He also had a working lunch with the President at Jubilee Palace. Both meetings are part of Canada's agenda to secure support from many African nations as it vies for a temporary seat on the powerful United Nations Security Council this June. And recapping one of our top news stories, a mass shooting in northeastern Thailand is still unfolding. A soldier has killed at least 20 people and is now holed up in a shopping mall. There are unconfirmed reports that he has taken some hostages. And a look at weekend weather. Southern Alberta has been under a snowfall warning today, and we are not quite done yet. Cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries this evening, although skies will clear overnight with a low of -10. We will have a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow and a high of +4, along with a southwest wind gusting from 40 to 60. Winter is not only hard on humans, it can be tough for our pets as well. Hal Roberts sat down with local veterinarian Stephanie Bodnarchuk to talk about properly caring for our furry friends. That's next. But first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. Come for a fun evening filled with musical entertainment to the Lethbridge Community Brass Choir's Brass Day Concert, featuring international trumpet soloist and jazz artist Rex Richardson on Saturday, February 29th, beginning at 7 p.m. at College Drive Community Church. Tickets are $15 and free for children under 12. Purchase yours today at CASA or visit lcbs.yapcity.com. For details, go to lcbs.ca. Come for a night of down-home fun to the Friends Winter Barn Dance on Saturday, March 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Galt Museum and Archives. Proceeds will go towards educational programs at the Galt. Tickets are $30 for adults, $20 for youth ages 11 to 17, and children 10 and under are free. Purchase yours by visiting galtmuseum.com. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.